If you wouldn't mind, could you just explain what a DAO is, just to anyone that might be a bit confused about that term?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so I'll give the first view, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. So it implies it's an organization which is distributed around the world using blockchain infrastructure. And it implies that it's autonomous in the sense that it kind of runs itself according to smart contract infrastructure. The smart contract will execute and then it will perform said requirement. This is a caveat because right now, DAO tooling is not such that it is autonomous. We'll just make that clear. But we're going to assume in this case that it is, and that DAO tooling is working so well that whenever a decision is made by the organization, by the DAO, that it automatically executes such that there is no single point of failure. Right now, if you have a business and the manager decides to do something, then he has to be the one to do that. They have to be the one to do that. In a true DAO, the idea is that these decisions, these governance decisions, will automatically execute so that there is no trust point at the end of it. But put more simply, right, a DAO is just a distributed group of people that combine resources and networks and ideas to operate under a common goal. Okay. Traditionally, typically, we're saying they're using blockchain infrastructure. So they're using a Gnosis safe, which is a multi-signature wallet where you have your money in, and a certain amount of people must confirm transactions before it can be released. This is a security layer, and you can use online communication platforms such as any, social media, Discord, whatever. That is what a DAO is right now. It is very early, but DAOs are probably going to be the future of organization for most people who don't work for a corporation, because it's incredibly lightweight. It's basically free to set up. It has very little restrictions. You can kind of operate however you wish, but you can use the blockchain infrastructure. You can use tokenization to allow you to have governance over this protocol, to have security over the shared funding, and these sorts of things. Like, it just makes working as a non-official entity much safer and much more efficient.
Yeah, I think one of the key things that maybe people need to understand about DAOs is that it's a different way of doing an organization. So not only the things that you mentioned, but there's also I guess you could say a different take on the hierarchy within inside an organization. It's more maybe collaborative or cooperative. Looking at some of the things that are in the traditional world, maybe you could say maybe more closer to like a traditional co-op.
Yeah.
And I think that's, as you said, it's sort of, you don't have to so it's an unofficial way, or it's a way of getting into it without going through the traditional gatekeepers, essentially. And obviously that process is still being worked on. The systems are democratic, and we're looking at different, ways to vote on things, which I think is really important. I've seen some extremely novel voting mechanisms in the crypto space, which is really interesting when you contrast it to the traditional world of governance and democracy. Right, it's been the same for 50 years, right? Like, but in crypto you see many different ways of organizing, and that's always been really interesting to me. And I think it's going to be really interesting in the I guess the present now and in the future going forward.